How many times do we have to have this conversation? Is the question. And the answer is we're going to have to keep having it because for some reason, men just won't, we refuse to listen to what is being said. We are refusing to examine ourselves and we are refusing to take stock of what's actually happening around us, the things that we can see that are happening, that's happening around us, right? Having a man that provides is it, and having a man that is a decent human being are not mutually exclusive. Women should be able to find both, right? If they want to, if they want a man to financially 100% provide for her or be the breadwinner, while simultaneously still showing up in a meaningful way in their relationship, and as far as doing the labor is concerned in the household and in the emotional labor, they should be able to do that. It shouldn't be an either or scenario. First, second, women should not, specifically Black women, because we're going to see why. But women should not be required to build with a man. She should not be required. And when I say build, there is a reasonable amount of growth that is going to happen within a relationship. That's different. Let me pause. Not build with a man. Women shouldn't have to build a man to make a man be the type of person that she wants him to be, right? She shouldn't have to do that economically or emotionally, right?
I don't think a woman should ever marry a man. Well, let me back up. No, I'll say it this way. I don't think a woman should ever marry a man that does not have a mind to 100% provide for her. If you sit down,
that's, like I said, I don't want to say that a woman doesn't have the right to marry a man that 100% provides for her. That's a different thing. But telling women they shouldn't want to be with a man, or they shouldn't be with a man that doesn't want to 100% provide for her. And want is the word here, I guess, where we would argue. But if a man isn't, I don't think it's anything anything wrong in a capitalist system, right? For a working class man to not want to put the burden, the 100% responsibility of financially providing for a woman, right? Or anybody, right? On himself. I don't think that is like, he's not a man and he's a weak man and he's not worth being like, I think that's fucking crazy. And I think rhetoric like this from men, this is between men, I'm saying, this is dangerous. This is a dangerous ideal to push. This is misogynistic. This is the thing where men talk about, especially Black men. I don't want to hear how Black men aren't participating in the patriarchy or we don't have any power and yada, yada, yada. When Black men are coming out here and saying stupid shit like this, uninformed shit like this, dangerous shit like this about women shouldn't be with a man that doesn't want to 100% provide for her. That's crazy. That's crazy. There's so much more that goes along with being in a relationship beyond financial provision, right? Like I said earlier, I can separate the two. I am perfectly okay with women feeling however they want to feel about this. Like a woman could feel like, I only want a man that 100% provides for me. As long as capitalism exists, I think that is perfectly fair and reasonable. As long as racism exists, as long as the patriarchy exists, as long as these systems, as long as these institutions are in place, I am perfectly okay with that. Perfectly okay with that. Right? But telling women anything, first of all, and then secondly, telling women in this case that they shouldn't want to marry a man who doesn't have that ideology is wild, right? Because it doesn't actually reflect the character of the man at all, to be honest with you.
You have a conversation with a man as a woman and he's sitting there, he's bringing up 50-50. I want you to come up with 50. I'm going to come up with, he's not a masculine man, in my opinion.
That makes so much sense.
Because a masculine man, though she made more money than me, I knew where I was going. All I needed from her was just give me some time and just walk with me for a minute. But as a masculine man, I knew where I was going. If I were a woman, I would dismiss any man that came up with a conversation about 50-50 because he's lacking somewhere in terms of his masculinity. And so what the model looks like, sometimes that's going to be a professional woman that has vetted a man, that has been with a guy, and maybe he don't even have a job right now, but she
Listen, this is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So he wants to vilify and demonize a man that is like, yeah, no, I want to treat you right. I want to do right by you. I'm saying, like I said, a man that is not willing to go 50-50 in the relationship, fuck financially, right? A man that's not willing to be invested emotionally as well as financially in a relationship, you know, that's a man that me personally, like, I'm like, yeah, you probably need to do a lot more work. Like, that's what the conversation I would have with that man, right? I wouldn't talk to a woman about that. I would talk to the man and be like, you probably need to develop a little bit more before you get into a relationship. But a man that is like real 50-50 conversation, yes, I would pay, I will pay as, you know, I will be responsible for, you know, my, you know, 50% or whatever we could do financially, but I'm also going to show up, you know, I'm going to take care of my end of the bargain emotionally and in the performing the labor in the relationship, you know, the physical labor as well as the emotional labor. I think that man is way better than a fucking jobless man. This man, it wants, like, the odds that the chances that a man, even with the power of a woman behind him, the odds that a man who is with a professional woman, so you want a professional woman to transfer all of her energy and power and her resources into a jobless man who has a vision so that he can make, like, what? No, absolutely the fuck not. Well, the better scenario in that case, sir, would be a professional woman meeting a professional man, which happens the majority of the time. Thank God most people aren't listening to shit like this. This is fucking crazy. Only men like to hear this type of shit. Only, you know, oh man, that makes so much sense. It absolutely does not. This is some of the worst shit I've ever heard on the internet.
That has vetted a man, that has been with a guy, and maybe he don't even have a job right now, but she believes in his dream. And everybody around her, that's why you can't have the voices outside.
Right.
Saying, he's a bum, he's a bum. And he may be the next Tyler Perry.
Funny that he mentioned Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry told women something very similar. Tyler Perry told women something very similar. Also, as far as I know, Tyler Perry, I don't know. I don't know his story for real. I've never heard him mention a woman building him up. So he did that on his own, from what I can tell. So maybe, you know what I'm saying, Tyler, I don't know. Maybe you not having a job and living in your car is a thing that's going to motivate you more than that woman. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? So it looks different for everybody, but I think the 50-50 conversation boils down to energy, masculine energy versus feminine energy. Feminine energy has to be nurtured. It has to be protected.
If feminine energy is the thing that has to be nurtured and protected, then why are you wanting the feminine energy to nurture the man? If feminine energy needs to be the thing that needs to be nurtured, which flies in the face of femininity from my viewpoint, but if femininity is the thing that needs to be nurtured, then why are you saying that woman should nurture that man and help that man establish himself financially? I'm not understanding that at all. That's crazy.
Masculine energy has to perform. Any man that's talking about 50-50.
How is sir, the woman is already performing. You just say, let me make sure I'm not tripping. Hold on.
I would dismiss any man that came up with a conversation about 50-50 because he's lacking somewhere in terms of his masculinity. And so what the model looks like, sometimes that's going to be a professional woman that has vetted a man, that has been with a guy, and maybe he don't even have a job right now,
Like, what? A masculine man is a man without a job. And I'm not like, I don't believe in masculinity nor femininity. I'm just saying, based on what you're saying, this doesn't make sense. Based on your ideals of masculinity and femininity, this makes zero sense. Like, what are you talking about? You're all over the place. And you're basically, this is that Dr. Umar, this is that Tyler Perry. Hey, you women, you need to nurture a man. Even he needs you to help him grow. Though you are already established, you will now have to take a back seat, shrink yourself, and transfer all of your energy and resources into this man in hopes that this motherfucker exceeds you, and then hope that he treats you kindly and fairly after the fact. When in most cases, A, the first thing doesn't happen. He actually doesn't realize his potential because he's fighting the woman the whole fucking time. And B, he doesn't end up treating the woman well. Why would a woman sign up for this? Instead of this man telling men, show up with your own bag, show up already cooking, show up already willing to participate openly, evenly in a relationship. Instead of you saying that, you're telling her, no, shun the 50-50 man. Shun the man that's like, no, I'm all good. You got your money. I want, you know what I'm saying? You do your thing financially. I'll do my thing financially, but I'll participate in the relationship 50%. You participate 50%. There's 100% of labor that needs to go into a relationship, not 200%. There is 100% of labor that needs to go into the relationship. How much of that labor should you be responsible for? Right? Total over the totality of the relationship. How much of that relationship, how much of that energy should you be responsible for? 50%. That's the 50-50 argument to me. That's how it should be. The way that it is often and almost always framed is, I'll make 50% of the money, you make 50% of the money, I'll pay 50% of the bills. It could be and should be a much deeper conversation. It should be a much deeper conversation than finances. It should be emotional. It should be talking about the labor in the relationship as well. Not just the labor outside of the home. The thing that is probably the least most important is the labor outside the home once you get past economic viability. Once you get past, I can pay my bills. I already have me a one bedroom paying $2,200, $2,300 a month in a decent part of town. You're paying $2,500 a month on your part of the town. If we combine, we don't got to pay 20. We could keep paying this. We could pay $2,700, get us a nicer place, right? And cut our bills and cut that in half. But then how do we show up for each other in a relationship? That is the conversation that needs way more attention. Way more attention.
Has to be protected. Masculine energy has to perform. Any man that's talking about 50-50 is falling back off of. That's just my opinion. And I know I'm old school and I know a lot of folk don't agree with me, but that's all right.
You just ain't really said nothing, brother. Like, I could agree with you if you were more detailed, but you really didn't offer much, if anything. Now, these two clips give off the same energy to me. It's the same energy. They talk about how powerful men are, how masculine men need to be, and and all these things, right? If men are all of that, then why do we need women so badly, right?
To find? Are you struggling to find a millionaire? Are you struggling to find somebody who's 6'3" with a six-pack stomach?
No.
Are you struggling to find someone who can finance a European expensive materialistic lifestyle?
No.
What kind of black man are you struggling to find?
Let's talk about the culture in Australia versus the culture in America. I don't think it is quite different. It is.
No, it's not.
It is. I think now we're being more influenced.
One of the biggest mistakes that I find in the diaspora is we swear we're so randomly different. As probably the most traveled African in the Western Hemisphere, we're not that significantly different.
No, but we
there
are.
Might be something new. No, we're not. No, we're not.
I don't think black women. Okay, let's talk about it, because I'm getting dilemmas where women are talking about they're successful, they're in their careers, and they're looking for a decent guy. They're not asking for a man to earn triple the amount that he's earning.
What is decent? Give me 3 criteria for decent. I'm a psych.
Economically viable, is what she's describing.
Psychologist, you must define the term. Give me 3 criteria for decent.
decent. So he's emotionally intelligent.
Emotionally intelligent.
Okay.
Assuming she is as well.
Assuming she is
Continue.
as well. He is a provider. So he's able to, or he has a decent job. They are on the same.
What is a decent job?
He has.
Define the term.
He makes an amount that is in the same tax bracket as the woman. Let's just say that. The same tax bracket.
Okay.
Emotionally
Financial
intelligent.
equity.
Yes.
Okay.
I would just.
And that's what I'll be saying. And that's what I always get from what women are actually asking for. I always get the impression that women are just simply asking for economically viable men. I have never gotten the impression that women are asking, specifically black women, which, because he's talking about black women, of course, that's what Umar talks about, right? But I have never gotten the impression that black women specifically, of all the women, are requiring a man to pay all of her bills. It flies in the face of logic, and it flies in the face of science, because we know that black women are far more likely to be the breadwinners in their relationship over any other demographic of women in this country. So saying that black women are putting too much on black men is just pure gaslighting. Like, it's 100% gaslighting black women.
That he's nurturing and he cares to build a family with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the question?
And the question is, women are struggling to find men that they can date.
Okay. Couple things.
In all honesty, I did a video on this already, and I watched some of this clip. You know, I think I saw like a minute or two of this. Watching this, it's like a 7-minute clip. I didn't know how egregious this shit was, what Dr. Umar was saying. Like, it was bad in the 2-minute clip I saw, but listening to it in its totality, it's so much worse than I even heard the first time.
Number 1, black women cannot, shall not, should not expect a black man to be able to provide them with the same type of a lifestyle that a Caucasian can provide for the white female, because the Caucasian benefits from white privilege. The black man suffers from white racism.
Now, I said that both of those videos gave off the same energy. You guys, you know what he says in here if you haven't seen it, and we'll get to that. That, you know, the expectation, what women should do for men part is the same, right? But the thing that in both of these videos, though, the thing that I find odd and the thing that I also find annoying, which I always find annoying, is why are y'all telling women what to expect out of men and not telling men how to show up for women? That, like, I can never not unsee that. Like I can never unsee that part. I can't not speak on that. Every time I see it, I'm like, damn, y'all go through all of this trouble. I know he's talking to a woman. Don't get me wrong. I know he's talking to a woman. Maybe she wants his advice. Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't sound like she does. But I just feel like these conversations could go way further if men just really honed in on male behavior, right? That I really cannot overstate that. It's impossible for me to overstate that. Men need to really start talking to other men about our behaviors. We really do.
So we should not be, no sister should be looking for a European equivalent or an African equivalent of a European. A black man has to work.
Why not? If that's her expectation, that's her expectation. You see what I'm saying? Like, why not? You mean to tell me there's no black man out here that can provide a European equivalent of whatever? Like, yes, there are. So if a black woman wants that, why are you telling her not to want that? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty much how this conversation is shaping up. It's like men telling women what to expect and what to want and temper their expectations. Sounds like just gaslighting. It sounds like manipulation, honestly.
Twice as hard to get half as much. So although I can appreciate the financial equity, but if you are a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer as an African woman in Australia or America or the UK or Toronto or Johannesburg, looking for a black man who has financial equity with your type of career success, that's going to be difficult. You might got to tone it down a little.
This is what I'm saying. Both dudes Both dudes said pretty much the same thing. The model may even look like a professional woman with a bum ass nigga. That's what the first dude said. This Umar is like, all right, he may not be as successful as you. Maybe he's not a bum. The first nigga literally described a bum. Umar is not saying a bum dude, but he's saying somebody that is significantly less successful than her. Why would she need to expect that? That's crazy.
What I find as a therapist who works with couples, married, divorced, and otherwise, too often black women prioritize a man's income over his masculinity, meaning he can provide. He's willing to help with those children. He will nurture you, look out for you, but he might not be able to put you in a Mercedes.
Here's two different men having similar discussions but saying similar things. Basically, at its core, what both of these men are saying, right, is women. Well, the first dude was just talking about women, but I'm sure he's talking about black women because, I know how that goes. But he's saying, women, you should settle for a bum ass nigga. Umar is like, women, you should settle for a bum ass nigga adjacent, right? You should lower your expectations. How dare you have the expectations of a white tea woman for your man financially? Like, what are you talking about? We're black men. We can't do shit about that. We black. We got to work 3 times hard to get a quarter as much and blah, 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 blah. And all these excuses and concessions for black men while acknowledging that there are a bunch of black women who are performing, right, at a very high level. So what is the excuse for black men? And we're going to get into that. But it's just odd that they are saying the same and different things at the exact same time, because what Umar just said right now is, oh yeah, you prioritize the money over the masculine. The other dude is saying that the money is the thing that makes you masculine. The desire to financially provide 100% for a woman. But then that very same dude acknowledges that even that masculine man doesn't have a job or may not have a job. And then Umar is saying, well, the masculine man is the man that wants to help out more, may be willing to take on, by the way, he said help with the kids and all of that stuff. He's just terrible at this. But he's like, yeah, the masculine man is the man that wants to help with the woman, help with the kids, help with the labor in the home and yada, yada, yada. But he may not be up to snuff financially, may not be on your level financially, right? So no matter what they're saying is that black women, but women in general, they are going to have to settle for a man that isn't on their level. That isn't on their level. Why do women constantly have to make concessions and sacrifice? Why can't men just be everything the way that women are? The way that same woman, he's not telling this woman about how she's going to show up in a relationship. He's not assuming that she's not going to help out with the kids. He's saying the man is going to help out with the kids. The man is going to help cook. The man is going to help clean and help with some of the bills or half the bills or whatever, right? He's conceding that all the women are going to do these things automatically. But the men, it's like, he's saying he will. So why can't the men just show up like the women do? Why wouldn't that be the approach to this conversation?
I find as a therapist who works with couples, married, divorced, and otherwise, too often black women prioritize a man's income over his masculinity, meaning he can provide. He's willing to help with those children. He will nurture you, look out for you, but he might not be able to put you in a Mercedes. He might not be able to help you with that $1 million mortgage. And I've seen black women turn down good men, very good men, because he didn't have the economics, but he had everything else.
So that's not a good man for that woman, sir. Let me break that down for you again. That's not a good man for that woman. That's not a good man for that woman. I don't know what to tell you, Dr. Umar. If you saying that the man is good means what to the woman that's actually going to end up in a relationship with him? Are you fucking him? Are you dating him? No. So who are you to tell the woman, oh, that's a good man, Savannah? Like, what? That's not the man that she wants. That's not the man that she wants. That's not the man that she wants. That's the reality. So instead of you acknowledging that if that man doesn't show up financially, but he has all those other things, and he's not a good man for her. Instead, your take is, oh, you passed up on a good brother. No, sir, she didn't. She that's not a good brother for her. Why does she have to settle for either or?
Sisters need to be careful not to fall into this European narrative of judging men primarily by how much they make.
They don't. Black women don't do that. And the reason I know that is because most black men and black women are in relationships with one another. And if black women actually judge black men the way that Umar is saying, black men wouldn't have a shot with black women. We wouldn't have a shot, right?
I can agree with that. I think that these are two extreme scenarios here, because I think if a man we're talking about financial equity, if he is making enough to build a household with you, to be a leader in the household, I think women are okay with that. I think that's not what they're getting. I think they're getting the other end of the spectrum. That's what we're hearing. You know what I mean?
Would you have a problem if you met a man who made half?
Why wouldn't he address that? Because what she said right there was exactly what it is. She just said that the women aren't, it's not that they're running into these good brothers. They're running into these bum ass niggas that also don't have jobs. That also are bad men, that also aren't up to the task of taking care of a woman emotionally and, in every other way, right? Like, okay, fine. They don't have 100% of the finances, but is he at least economically viable? Oh, he's not. Okay. But he has a job. And then you look at him, you look at his character, and it's like, does he at least have a good character? No, he doesn't even have a good character. So what the fuck? What the fuck? WTF? What do you want women to do?
Man who made half of what you made or a third of what you made, but he had a financial vision of an empire, a business, some sort of an entrepreneurial undertaking.
See, I think that's dangerous.
Stay with me. Let me finish it, and then I want you to.
Me too. I think that's fucking dangerous. Making a third or half of what she makes. Like, let's be for real. Oh my God. Let's be for real. You would not. What is the equivalent of this for men, Umar? I'm really trying to figure this out. Like, are you telling men that you're not telling black men, oh, well, instead of you being so caught up on the looks of a woman and what the number says on the scale, you should go find you a fluffy princess and because she's a good woman. She can pay her bills, and she can help you raise them kids, and she gonna you're not telling black men that. You're not telling black men now. You're not telling black men to quote unquote, right? Because I don't feel this way, but you're not telling black men to settle, quote unquote, for women who are less attractive than what they want or expect. Because what is the equivalent of this for women, for men? From black men to black women, the expectations, what is the equivalent of that? I don't even know what that looks like. Because black women meet the expectations of black men. The only thing you would have is basically this conversation, but from the perspective of the black man. Like, yeah, I know you afraid to be with a strong black woman that's independent and got her shit together and got her degree and she's smarter than you. But man, you should really, really, really be interested in that woman, because that woman can help you level up, because that woman can help you develop into the best version of yourself. Like that, that's the reverse conversation, but that's a dub for that man, bro. If I marry a woman that makes double the amount of money that I make and she's fucking dope, how the fuck? Why do I deserve that? Like, why do I deserve that? That's fucking nutty.
Respond. And he needed you to help invest in his dream. And he gave you.
Oh, let's go back to this dumbass niggathetical. This niggathetical crazy, y'all.
I think women are okay with that. I think that's not what they're getting. I think they're getting the other end of the spectrum. That's what we're hearing. You know what I mean?
Would you have a problem if you met a man who made half of what you made or a third of what you made, but he had a financial vision of an empire, a business, some sort of an entrepreneurial undertaking?
See, I think that's dangerous.
Stay with me.
I think that's dangerous.
Let me finish it, and then I want you to respond. And he needed you to help invest in his dream. And he gave you a definitive timeline. He said, give me 12 months or 24, no more than that. If you invest in me, I promise you, what I'm going to build will equal where you are. Would you have a problem investing in it?
Why do y'all come up with these wild ass niggatheticals? Why? Why does she need to do this for a man? Why wouldn't he just do this on his own? Listen to the amount of money he says, by the way.
What does investing in him mean?
Let's say he needed $700 a month to help fuel this.
That's $8,400 a year. If I'm 7 times 4. That's $8,400 a year. 2 years, right? So that's 16,800. He expects this woman to give this man a $17,000 loan. Why can't he just get a part-time job? Why, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Why can't, like, if that's all it takes, build it on your own. She would. Why are you not saying that about him? Like in reverse. Why are you not telling black men, hey man, invest in these black women? Hey man, you know these black women that got all these degrees and shit like that. You see all these businesses they already started. Why don't y'all go in there and invest in them? It ain't even gotta be on no relationship shit. Like, why don't black men just invest in black women's businesses? Why do you have to be with them? You know what I'm saying? You got to benefit from it directly. You can't just invest with black women that's starting all of these businesses. Just invest with them. Give them some money. Help them out. Patronize the businesses. Like, why is that not the conversation? That's like, oh my God, it's just, man, it's frustrating. I'm sorry.
His dream, he needed $700 for 24 months. Could you do it? You're reluctant.
I am reluctant because what's the
That's a turn off. I'm sorry. That's a turn. I'm not even a woman. That's a turn off. I wouldn't want to. That's a turn off. That's dry vagina activities right there. That's crazy.
What's the guarantee?
There is no guarantees in love. There is no guarantees in romance.
And also, I think context matters. How long have we been together?
I agree.
You know,
yes.
If it's just a guy that I met last year and all of a sudden he has these dreams and he wants me to fund it.
Y'all been dating for about 2 years. You like him. There might even be some love.
I ain't gonna even hold you. What he talking about is more like marriage. Like, you better be married. Like my wife has invested in me several times. I want to say at least 3 times in my relationship, right? When I say invested in me, maybe not gave me the money, but she allowed me to take a risk financially. And then she picked up some slack financially, right? Because it didn't, we don't do loans and shit. We're fucking married. But she's definitely like I was like, oh, I'm going to do insurance. And she was like, cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm making X amount of dollars now. I'm going to take a pay cut. And she was like, fine. And I did it. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yep, I could pick up the slack here while you establish yourself in insurance. Cool. We did a clothing line too. We invested some money in that. We put a few $1,000s into that or whatever. We've done, my wife, me personally, she has invested in my visions. And in this right now, she invested in me, right? And not, like I said, not money or whatever you want to say, because it's all our money, but she allowed me to do this. And when I say allow, I'm saying my wife could have had a problem with this. My wife could have said, nah, I just want you to work. I just want you to, just get back in there. And at that point, I could have made a decision. I could have said it was on me. I could have said, nah, I really want to do this. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want me to do this, then I'm just gonna have to go my separate. You know what I mean? Like, I could have made a choice. I could have made the ultimate decision to choose my career or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have done it, but I could have made that decision. But my wife was like, nah. She was like, nope. I support you. I'm gonna support you 100%. And she been supporting me 100%. And I wouldn't be here had she not supported me 100%. So I'm not against what Umar is saying as far as like a woman investing in a man, but you don't need to tell women to do that. Women will do this naturally. Once you are in a relationship with the man, once the woman trusts the man and all of that stuff, she's going to do it naturally. You don't need to try to fucking lie to these women, or he just sounds like an uncle trying to manipulate women that are his niece's age, his daughter's age. Like, oh yeah, baby girl, you need to just settle for a man that ain't barely got a fucking job and let this nigga leech off of you and suck you dry, and you give him all of your time and you build him up, and he gonna come back to you with a master plan that only requires $700 a month. Like, are you fucking kidding me? No, stop telling young women that shit, bro. That's crazy. That, like she said, that's dangerous.
Love there. And he's saying
there might be
invest
some
in
love
them.
there is crazy. There has to be some love there.
Let's say there
There
is.
has to be a future there. And I think that's what I'm saying. Context matters. If I see myself with
But
this
you didn't
man,
answer the question. Let's say all those things are there. Will you financially invest in him? Be honest, my queen. They already answered for you. They said hell to the nizzo.
Yeah. Look,
Why not, though? Why do you have a problem with that? Given the atmosphere of racism and economic oppression that black
Now, this is when they get real tricky and sticky. Listen to this contradiction.
men suffer in Australia, why would you have
but
a problem
what are black
investing
men
in your
subject
king?
to that women are not? We're
Say that
going
again.
through the same thing.
True, but it operates differently. The racism against black men is significantly more aggressive than the racism against.
How so? You just said true because he knew that was true. And now he's saying, nah, but it's worse because it's more aggressive. It's not.
Black women. Now, I don't want to get into an oppression Olympics because I agree with you. We all suffer and we suffer together. But a man's primary responsibility is to be a provider.
If a man's primary responsibility is to be a provider, then why don't more men set themselves up to be providers? It's the same thing that other man was saying in the other video. Why do you need a woman to help you be a provider if a man's primary role is to be a provider? Same thing with telling women that men are the natural born leaders. If men are the natural born leaders, then why do we have to spend hours and hours and hours and hours on end convincing women that men are the natural born leaders? If men are naturally promiscuous and we're supposed to be able to sleep with every woman that we want, then why do we have to spend our whole lives convincing women that men should be fucking polygamous and all of that? Like nothing you're saying is true. Your idea of a man being a provider is rooted in white supremacy, Dr. Umar. While you simultaneously bemoan the idea of a black woman having an expectation of a black man that may be equivalent to what a white man can provide, you are simultaneously pushing a white supremacist agenda that men are supposed to be providers, gender roles. Like, what the fuck? You're all over the place.
We don't feel adequate as men when we can't provide. So your king, who you love.
That is a personal choice. If men don't feel adequate as men because we can't provide, you need to go sit on that lady couch because you should still feel like a man, even if you can't 100% financially provide for your family. If you were actually showing up in a relationship, you wouldn't even have time to think about that shit. You would see a need, feel a need. But the only need you want to be able to, the only need that you want to have to fulfill is the financial role, because we all know that is the easiest way for you to manipulate a woman and control her.
Who you've been dating for 2 or 3 years is saying, baby, invest in me for these 18 to 24 months, and I promise you I will cross that finish line. You're still reluctant.
I'm reluctant.
Why?
I'm reluctant. As my husband, if we were married and something like that happened, of course, I would be open to doing that.
But would you be open to even marrying him if he was not the provider you needed him to be? He's saying, help me.
Yes, she said it at the very beginning. You're not listening. She said she just wants an economically viable man. That was what she said at the beginning of this. Yes, she would be willing to be in a relationship with a man who doesn't 100% provide financially. She said it already. But this man you're describing is a fucking bum.
Level up so I can become the person you want to marry. He's asking you to help him level up.
I think.
Let me tell you why you're reluctant. And I don't have a problem with your reluctance, but I want to explain something.
Okay.
And I want all my young sisters to hear me. A big difference between the snow bunny and the African queen is the snow bunny will find a black man in progress. This
is the part that I saw about.
will find him on the job. She will find him on the university. And that snow bunny will see a black man with potential, and she will invest in him.
Mind you, this is the same man that said in this very same clip earlier that black women shouldn't have the same expectations that white women have of white men. Now, riddle me this, Dr. Umar. Why would a white woman have a different expectation for a black man? Can you tell me why? How does that make sense? These same white women that you are pedestalizing right now, who you are saying will settle or work with the black man, right? That same white woman who is a part of this racist this racist patriarchy that is most extremely oppressive to black people, specifically black women. These very same white women, these very same white women, you're telling us that those white women will then turn around and invest in a black man quicker than a black woman would invest in a black man. That's what you want us to believe. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, man. Black women and white women alike, because women help men build. Men need women. White men don't come already built either. God damn. White women don't. Black women will help a man build. A white woman will help a man build. I've mentioned this before. There's a content creator on here named Jenny. I think her page is called Life Take Two. You guys can go check out Jenny's work. Jenny told me personally, she told me her story. Jenny was a white Mormon trad wife. That woman literally gave her husband the money he needed to start the business, helped build the business, then took herself out of it so that she can raise their kids, and then gave him the business. So I'm so tired of y'all acting like this is like a white woman exclusive thing, or like black women don't. Like, women build men all across the globe, bro. Women build men all across the globe. You just are, Dr. Umar is such a fucking contradiction. This is ridiculous. All of this language and rhetoric that he's been using this whole time is completely dangerous to young black women. Like, don't tell black women shit. But definitely, if you do tell black women anything, please stop telling them to settle for niggas who don't have their shit together financially. Please stop telling them to settle for niggas that need their help financially. They already have enough against them. They already got the world stacked up against them. Why are you telling them to settle for men who more than likely will abuse them? You're not helping. You're not helping, man. Stay out the fucking way, man, or help. But help me talk to these men. Let's talk to black men and tell black men, hey, man, y'all need to have y'all shit together before you get with a woman. You need to have your shit together emotionally. You need to learn how to not be a fucking abusive piece of shit in this relationship. That'll get you to the promised land. That'll lead to the largest or highest outcomes of happiness. When the man makes sure that he's not an abusive piece of shit, that the relationship will be productive and be happy. The shit Dr. Umar is talking is 90% of the time going to lead to ruin. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.